This is Critical Point Review's first podcast, review preview. Episode 1 is what I'll call it. So, in general consensus, this is just kind of going to be kind of like a random not random, but kind of catch-up conversation. Some movies that we do see, whether it's DVD, Blu-ray, Dollar Theater, or even a late movie that we didn't get to review, we'll talk about here, stuff we're looking forward to, and just whatever's on our minds. So, first episode, and Leroy?
Yes. I'm not sure the best way to start it out, but I guess we'll start out with some movies that we've already seen that we've appreciated.
And that we haven't really got to review.
Yeah. I started off with Star Trek. That we haven't reviewed. Or
we can go ahead and start. We'll go and start off.
I was going to start with a list of movies that were really good and that people should see.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's kind of our what we've seen so far this summer and what we enjoyed the most.
Yeah. Right. So Star Trek, obviously. Mm-hmm. I mean, to me, as far as the ones that I've seen, that's been the best one I've seen so far. I mean, it was a great team-based movie. It was just everything that they did. It just took things to a whole different level than what we've already seen. Mm-hmm. I felt, and I really had no idea. I thought it would be a good movie, but I didn't realize how good it was going to end up being. Mm-hmm. And so I enjoyed that one thoroughly. That's something I highly would recommend to anybody.
Yeah.
I
guess my two movies I'd say recommend is Mud, which I haven't reviewed, and to be honest, me and a buddy of mine went and watched it at our local dollar theater. Well,
we call it the dollar.
Yeah, they don't really have dollar theaters anymore. It was $3, but it was dang, dude. I heard really good things about it, and I was quite blown away. Even having high expectations going into it, it really is. It's my favorite movie so far this year, and I feel it's the movie to beat.
Do you only want to review movies that are in the theaters? Can it be movies that we've seen for the first time this year that maybe was on DVD or?
And that's why I figured we had this podcast to kind of catch up people.
I want to bring up a movie called The Next 3 Days with Russell Crowe, and that's a movie that didn't get a lot of advertising.
Last year?
It was like last year or something like that. Okay. And it didn't get a lot of advertisement. It didn't get a lot of good marketing. But I mean, I watched it. And when I saw the trailer, I was like, it might be a good movie. But I've probably seen this before. Yeah. But I watched it, and it was a really, really good movie. It was a deep movie. I mean, it took it in a direction you didn't expect it to, because the beginning is really slow paced. Yeah. But the story is strong enough to keep your attention. Yeah. And then the last 40 minutes of it is just all out, it's not just action, it's intense, suspenseful drama, and you feel really invested in how it turns out, because basically it's about this situation where his wife ends up going to jail for murder.
Who's in this now?
This is Russell Crowe.
Is it anyone else that...
let's see, Russell Crowe is in it. The guy that I don't know his name, but he was on The Walking Dead. He had a son in the first season.
I don't know.
Okay, he was on Jericho, I think was the name of it. You didn't watch that either?
Well, I know you're talking about. But
he played a detective on it. Mm-hmm. His wife, I forget her name. But Liam Neeson has a special scene in it. It's actually a very significant scene. And basically his wife is in jail for murder, and he's trying to prove her innocence. Mm-hmm. And he's about to lose the opportunity to help her, and so he decides he wants to take matters into his own hands. And that's where Liam Neeson comes into play and everything. And so anyway, it's a really awesome movie, and it gets more and more intense as it goes deeper into it, and you get more and more invested into it too. So, I mean, that's a movie I really recommend somebody to see.
What's the name of that again?
The Next 3 Days.
Next 3 days.
Or The Last 3 Days.
The Last 3 days. Last 3 days. I have to check it out. I think I remember what you're talking about now. I remember the trailer and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me this year, I think Mud is the one to beat. I think even coming in towards the Oscar season, towards the end of the year, I think that's still going to be.
Could you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah. Mud's kind of now that I've kind of soaked it in, and it's kind of a coming-of-age story. I'd almost compare it to a Mark Twain, a Mark Twain kind of book, kind of a Huck and Finn. It kind of reminded me of that. Yeah, Huckleberry Finn. Yeah, something like that. It's about two boys. They kind of just, they grow up just like any other boys. It's placed in Arkansas, so it's more of a southern community. And they just kind of go, during the weekends kind of go do what they do, have fun. It's like a small town. It seems like, for the most part, mostly everyone knows everyone, at least in the local neighborhood. And it's not necessarily, they live on a river house, which is really cool. Because it's like, it'd be pretty cool to live on a river house. And, but it's like kind of that, you know, everyone kind of knows everyone. So they're out having fun one day, and one of the boys hears that there's a boat stuck in a tree, and he's like, let's go find this boat, just like any other, just like any boy. It's like, all right, so, you know, it's like two best friends. Their names are Neckbone and, it's Neckbone and what's the other guy's name? Ellis. Neckbone and Ellis. And it's kind of, like I said, I guess that's his nickname. They never established his
I would hope
name.
it.
I'd feel bad if it's someone's name. So they find the boat, and they actually find out someone's living in there. It's Matthew McConaughey's character, Mud. And I don't really want to say anything past that, but they get to find out who he is. You don't really know if he's a good person or a bad person throughout the whole movie, I'd say. I think you kind of get a good revelation on that at the very end, but it's really, it shows a lot of aspects of life. There's a lot more involved in there, but I don't want to give it away because I was fresh going right into it. And so it was really, really enjoyable. Okay. It's definitely maybe my favorite movie, you know, the past couple of years. I was really impressed. It had Michael Shannon, who plays, he's pretty big right now. He played General Zod in Superman, and he was in this, the guy who directed this, I know his last name's Nichols. I think it's Joseph Nichols. I forget what his last name's Nichols, but he directed Take Shelter, which also starred Michael Shannon. Michael Shannon was great, and that was a great movie too. Recommend go check it out. But Mud, man, Mud. That's the movie. Okay. I know it comes out on DVD and Blu-ray August 6th. Yeah. So if you didn't get a chance to catch it, if it's not at your local dollar theater, go Redbox it because it's completely worth it. That's the movie to beat for me this year. Okay. But also, I do want to say Star Trek because Star Trek is just, it was a lot of fun. And probably some of the most, it's some of the most fun I've had in a movie in such a long time. Just thinking back about it, it reminded me of like Indiana Jones and that kind of stuff. And it was a lot of fun. Had good action throughout. Had good, it had like that just excellent pace. That you can't substitute that for anything. And that's what I really want to compliment that movie on. Like when I think about it, it had like just like that kind of Indiana Jones pace. Like once you're in there, you're strapped in and you're just like sucked into the theater. And so that's Star Trek is my second favorite movie so far this year.
And I guess for me it would be probably Fast 6 because that might be the best Fast I've seen. Mm-hmm. That's probably the best Fast. Mm-hmm. I'd have to go back to see the first one again. And I don't remember the second one that well, but that's so far from what I recall, that's definitely been the best one I've seen. They've done so many things in that movie that was so cool. Mm-hmm. And it seems like they have a full understanding of what they want to do with the series and everything. So I'm excited about the next one. So that would be my other one.
Yeah. Other than that, I guess since we're going to talk about, kind of just catching up on the whole summer, the worst movie, well, now my two worst movies are, my worst movie is Iron Man 3. And that's
I already know what the other ones.
Yeah, even coming out of Lone Ranger, like Iron Man 3 was just it was a vast disappointment, man. Because, like I already said, it had no right to be that bad. It should have been better. This was the movie that's supposed to be starting off the second phase of the Avengers movies, and golly, I know a lot of people that still enjoyed it, but I just when I sat back and even like. After watching the movie, I was like, it wasn't nowhere as good as anything, and I was just mad at what they did with the characters, and it got me real disappointed. Yeah, it was a basic action flick adventure but you already had really good movies before this. Mm-hmm. That's one of the reasons I say, Lone Ranger, which is my second worst movie so far this year.
So now you see me, it was better.
Let me think. Hold on. Well, either way, both of those were disappointing. But those were first movies established. Those were those were first in, I guess, a series if they ever go back and do sequels. And I heard they're doing a sequel to Now You See Me because it made pretty good money. We'll have to wait and see on Lone Ranger. But those were first movies, you kind of don't expect as much as you do with Iron Man 3 after you have Iron Man 1. Well, not necessarily Iron Man 2, but Iron Man 1 and the Avengers. Those were really, really good movies. And because, in fact, this actually made me appreciate the Avengers even more. Because I was Iron Man 3.
Okay.
Because
of what they accomplished.
And how he did the writing in the Avengers.
Right.
Because I was kind of one of those skeptical people, and I still don't think Avengers is the best movie of all time, but it's, I was kind of one of those, well, it was just an action adventure, but then I realized that, like, you go watch Iron Man 3, and I felt like Tony Stark was not written well at all. You go watch Avengers, and he was written perfectly, inconsistent pace to the whole franchise. Right. And so I was, that's what I was like, okay, well, I take that back. Joss Whedon really did do a good job, not only with the Iron Man character, but multiple characters, writing them in consistency up to that point. And that's extremely tough. But Iron Man 3 was just a letdown. I guess, I don't know, man. I feel like, because I don't know what the guy who directed Now You See Me, and I don't think... I still have to say Lone Ranger is my second. Like, I feel like that's my worst movie this year, but it's not my most hated movie this. Like, I feel like that's the worst made movie this year.
Okay, for me, I agree as far as the Iron Man. I thought that was really a chronic waste of time and had no reason to be that much of a disappointment for me, because it's like they had a lot of great ideas, they just didn't use any of them. They used all of them. And it's like, if you just focused on one thing or whatever, it probably would have been tremendously better. Yeah. But it's just they tried to do too much or whatever and didn't really do anything as a result. Yeah. My worst movie to me was Now You See Me, because...
Second worst movie? Or
second worst.
Oh, okay.
Second worst movie is because, I mean, for one thing, after seeing the prestige and seeing what someone could do with the material, you know what I mean? I felt like it could have been a lot more interesting than what they made it. And I'm not really sure what I saw. I mean, I really didn't see it.
I feel like the main problem in that, well, not despite a lot of it's just a generic movie wrapped around, even though they were magicians, it was wrapped around a superhero skin, but it's an extremely generic superhero movie that we've seen everything before they've already done.
And I didn't feel there was anything in there that was impressive. Mm-hmm. Like, I wasn't impressed with anything, and most of the things that were supposed to be surprising, I kind of saw coming. And so, I mean, and I thought that they really didn't use, what's his name?
Woody Harrelson, Michael Caine.
Michael Caine. They didn't use him.
Oh, yeah, dude.
In the end, they didn't really use him well.
When they ended his character off, I was just
like... the way they ended it. And it wasn't that they did poorly with him up to that point. It's just they built it up and then killed, just ended it with no real, excitement or anything that it deserved. So, I mean, that would be my two.
I guess the reason I just hit, the Lone Ranger, man, like I said in the review, coming off of Rango, it should have been so much better, because Rango and Pirates, I think Disney's like, let's make this more like Pirates of the Caribbean, because
I can totally see that.
I look at the watch, like, even in the beginning, even
right, though you see the compass.
Even though you see the significance when the movie
and a lot of the things that Tonto did of the compass felt like Captain Jack.
Yeah, the Harlot place reminded me of Tortuga in Pirates of the Caribbean.
I can see that.
And
the way he came off that ladder reminded me how he came off the boat.
Yeah.
On the first Pirates.
And it's just...
And, just little things. It was kind of inventive how they did certain things, but a lot of times it did make me think, okay, Captain Jack would do the same thing in this situation.
And I really couldn't even give a consistent, what the plot was. Because I understand, but there's so many things. The editing was horrible in this movie.
Well, I didn't have a big issue with the editing, because I felt like it was going to be a frantic movie. My thing, because I enjoyed the movie, but I did feel like something was really missing, and I couldn't figure out what that was. I felt like the glue wasn't there. It was a bunch of stuff there, but it was a glue that would have held it together a lot better. But I don't know what that was.
And I don't know if it was Gore Verbinski or if it was Disney producing, trying to be like, hey, look at all this money you made with us in Pirates. Look at the money you made in Rango. let's bring that over here. Let's combine the two. Let's bring it more like Pirates. Every one of those Pirates, because of course Pirates is a multi-billion-dollar franchise right now.
The possible business.
Yeah, but I wonder if they directed it more than Gore. Because, I mean, you look at the movies that Gore Verbinski's directed. I don't know if you've ever seen Mouse Hunt, but it's a hilarious
I did watch it. I don't remember.
He directed The Ring, which was, a horror statement.
A lot of people found that to be a horrifying movie, but it didn't really bother me that much.
But it was still, like, for its time, I thought it's the one movie that started the ghost movies, like, of that. You kind of had that little branch of, like...
I wasn't very impressed with it, personally.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I don't know why, but everyone was like, it was the scariest movie I've ever seen. I was like, I looked at it, I don't know, I've seen, like, better or worse or whatever.
Then he directed Pirates of the Caribbean 1 through 3, and there definitely is a dip in quality from the first one. Like, the first one is still a great action-adventure picture, and then they kind of slide down from there.
For me, the first and the last one he did were the best ones.
Oh, it's for real?
Yeah.
It's probably the first and second one for me.
Okay.
And then he directed Rango, which was, I didn't think that was going to be good, and then I saw it, and I was like, oh, wow, that was really great. I don't know, it's just Lone Ranger was just horrible, and it's interesting, because I know Disney, they've had a lot of blunders right now without their franchises. Of course they bought Marvel, so that's making Iron Man 3's already made him cajillions amount of money on top of Avengers. I'm sure Thor 2 will pull in a good bit. But I know John Carter, I never saw that movie, John Carter.
I didn't see it.
Okay, but I know that was a huge financial flop for them. They spent like $250 million on the budget and only made like $70 million or $100 million. That's worldwide and so that was a huge flop. I don't think Prince of Persia was as big of a flop, but I'm not sure that pulled in. I'd have to look. But I know this movie, it's only pulling in okay. Despicable Me 2 has been raking in the cash this week, which kind of makes sense.
I mean, it does make sense to me. I mean, a lot of people I know have been looking forward to it. So
yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. Just the Minions bother me. Never seen the movie, but those little Minions just. I don't know if I can handle it.
All right.
But yeah, is there any?
Pikachu.
Yeah, is there anything you since we've talked about kind of the best and worst?
What we're looking forward to?
Yeah, anything you're looking forward to? Or?
Oh, honestly, I would say Wolverine because ninjas are the coolest things ever. There's ninjas in this movie. There's samurai in this movie, which is like the second coolest thing. And then you got Wolverine that you throw in the mix of that. You're not supposed to mess that up.
Well,
personally, a movie with ninjas and samurai is supposed to be good, period. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited, not just because of that, obviously, but because of the director and just it looks like it's going to be like nothing we've seen as far as superheroes and stuff like that go. I think this is going to be a little bit different than anything we've seen.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to.
I agree. Because I know the one I forget the name of the director, but I know he's directed 3:10 to Yuma too, with the remake with Russell Crowe and Christian Bale. I really, really enjoyed that. So, I don't know, I know they completely forgot about, they're not even acknowledging that there was another Wolverine movie, so...
Okay.
So, I mean, you can tell
I wouldn't want to...
I know, but you can tell that they are trying to hopefully make this better. And I think a lot of people were really cold off that last Wolverine movie, and people were like, well, why make another Wolverine movie?
Right.
Well, I'm still eager to see it. I agree. I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, something that you brought up, and I don't know how far into the future we're going with this, but when you were talking to me about everyone that's going to be on the next X-Men movie,
it's next year. Yeah.
I was
X-Men Days of Future Past. That's my most anticipated movie that I know.
That has potential of being
movies, out. Movies that I know.
The original Dark Knight, it could beat out the original Dark Knight if they do that, right?
Yeah, Days of Future Past just looks... I can't wait to see the trailer for that.
The potential is ridiculous.
Yeah, I can't... If you don't know about that, I don't really know anything about the story, but I know somehow it's the director who directed the first two X-Men, and he's coming back to direct this because Matthew Vaughn, who directed X-Men First Class, I think he's going to direct a different comic book movie. I don't know.
But he's involved in this, right?
He's producing it too. But Bryan Singer's coming in to direct this, and it's combining somehow. There is like a time thing with it, and to where the X-Men from...
They're pretty much bringing back all of the X-Men that we've known.
Yeah.
As well as the new ones that we've seen in First Class, which is pretty cool because Hugh Jackman will be there, Halle Berry will be there, Like the guy that
and they're bringing. I know.
Then they're bringing back
and they're bringing in Sentinels, which I think a lot of people.
The Sentinels will be there.
So that is, I'm pretty interested. Like, I mean, that's my most
Magneto, all of it.
That's my most anticipated movie for next year. Probably. It all depends on how good the second Hobbit is.
yeah. But what's that? Elysium.
Elysium and The Conjuring are my last probably two big movies that I just.
What's that lady's name? I should know her name.
Oh gosh, right there. Oh,
Jodie Foster.
Yeah, Jodie Foster.
I'm interested to see how they use her. If they use her right, to me, that's going to be a great movie.
Well, I know you're not as big a fan of District 9 as I am.
Okay, I'm not a fan in the same way.
Yes,
because I'm disappointed. See, you went there. I'm disappointed in that the fact that they could have made the greatest movie of all time. And they made an amazing movie.
It's still a great sci-fi.
It's an amazing movie, but I'm still disappointed because he had the potential there to make the greatest movie of all time, and he did not take advantage of it. And maybe it wasn't his fault, but I'm holding it against him anyway.
Well, I'm pretty like even in the trailer, like some of the stuff they're just doing, like with the lighting and stuff, just like how it kind of like brings in aliens. Like there was a certain part when he's walking in that like kind of mech suit. And it reminded me of when Ridley in Aliens, at the very end, she was in, I forget the name of the machine, but she took down
the Mark.
It reminded. So I mean, there are, and just the special effects in general. I mean, the budget on District 9, I think, was only $30 million, and like what he did with
that's impressive to say that.
Yeah, and so
because that was
this dude with special effects. I'm there with Elysium. I think though my most anticipated.
A lot of times I forget Matt Damon is on it because it's just all the stuff that's surrounding it.
He's a very promising director, so I'm really looking forward to that. I'd say my most anticipated movie though, like every time I think about it, it just gets me amped. The Conjuring.
Okay.
It's the follow up from Insidious. James Wan, who directed Saw 2. Not Saw 2, but the first Saw. Yeah,
that's a big difference.
And I know he directed a movie with Kevin Bacon, and then he directed
Stereo Echoes?
No.
Oh, I was about to say.
I forget what it was called, and then he directed the movie about the haunted puppets.
Puppet Master?
No, this is 2000s. Dead Silence. Dead Silence. I know a lot of people aren't too fond of Dead Silence, or the movie with Kevin Bacon, but I heard that.
What was that one about?
I didn't. Dead Silence?
No, with Kevin Bacon.
I want to say it was kind of like a crime thriller.
Okay.
But I'm not 100% sure. But I know those two won't look favorably upon.
Okay.
I haven't seen them myself, but I know. I also heard like the producers kind of stepped in on those two. Now I'm not just saying it because I am a fan, but I actually did hear that like on a new. I think it's a movie podcast I was supposed to watch. It was Beyond the Trailer. People know what that is. I remember her saying something about that, but. Speaking of those, his last horror movie, Insidious, I don't think it reinvented the wheel, but boy did it spin that wheel.
Okay.
It's like it was kind of like a Poltergeist movie today, but golly, was it just everything he did? It was just masterful with the resources he had. It was just creepy, and I didn't even watch it in the theater. I watched it with a buddy of ours, Aaron, and Isa, another friend of ours.
I remember.
And we rented the movie and we watched it, and we were like, I've never been terrified like sitting there with friends watching the movie.
Yeah.
Like I've never been that scared.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Like usually at your house, you got friends, you laugh. Yeah. We were all like, oh man, that was real.
Okay.
That was real. And then of course Saw. Yeah. That's what started the whole what people call the torture genre. And that wasn't really necessarily about the torture. It was about
you want to survive.
Yeah. And the first Saw was just, it was,
you don't beat the first Saw.
Like, that is a staple in horror genre.
Yeah.
No matter how you feel, that is a staple in the horror genre. And so, The Conjuring, man, I've heard nothing but great things already about it. And so I'm super stoked for it. And I know he also directed Insidious 2, which comes out in September. So I'm looking forward to that one too, but it's just The Conjuring right now.
Okay.
That one. And the trailers have done really nothing but impress me.
Okay.
So.
I had to go back. I want to insert this for the Wolverine movie. Mm-hmm. I noticed one of the guys on there was actually also on The Last Samurai. Mm-hmm. And he did a great job on there. I expect him to do great on here. And there's another movie, it's an older movie like a couple of years ago called Harakiri. You know, when he do the suicide thing, the samurai. He's on there. And from what I was reading from the reviews, that was a really
Harakiri actually came out last year.
Was it last year?
It came out last year because it was Takashi Miike's follow of the 13 Assassins.
Also, it was a remake of the original in like 63 or something like that.
Because 13 Assassins was also a remake.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet, but I heard it was really good.
I know we'll eventually have to have like a samurai theme.
Right, we definitely got to
review. But 13 Assassins, folks. Go.
Yeah, 13 Assassins. Just drop that right there.
I don't have enough time, but just go watch 13 Assassins. But yeah, man. And also, since we're on here, we'll go and wrap it up with, I know we said that we do have something in mind, and we do have something in mind. We can go ahead and talk about a little bit about it right now.
Okay.
What we're thinking, just give us your thoughts. What we're thinking is kind of recording kind of like older movie reviews. We call it Time Tracker. And we're thinking like kind of like a cool name, but, movies, it could be from... pretty much any period in time. Of course, we have to find the movie. But, definitely. So... Yeah,
I guess if you have any ideas or anything that you're interested in us reviewing, just let us know about it.
Yeah. And I know, we were also talking about, like, once we get it started, we're going to kind of bring in y'all, the fans, people who watch these videos, into it. Whatever movie we review that week, we'll ask a real, like, in-depth, in-detail question, and then whoever answers it first on the YouTube comments, that they can pick the year or the month or the, month, day, kind of like bringing that time element.
Right.
And we will go search out that year or that year, month, and day and try and find a movie. Now, if there was no movie that comes out that day, we'll message you back via your YouTube account or whatnot. But that's what we're definitely hoping on. So
and trying to get some input from you all, what you might want to be interested in hearing about. Or,
So definitely, if there is any particular years of movies, go ahead and drop them in these comments. Why give us some ideas. There's definitely a whole bunch of movies we'd love to talk about from way back in the day. But that's going to wrap it up for the first episode, man. I feel like we did a pretty good job. Kept it under 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So hope y'all have enjoyed this. Next week, stay tuned. We'll have Pacific Rim, and we may, if we start filming on the intro, we may even try and show y'all a little glimpse or something like that.
Okay.
Behind the scenes kind of deal.
Yeah.
So. All right. Thank you.